So you've seen your urinalysis and you have no idea how to interpret it. I'm going to tell you how we as urologists interpret the urine dipstick. Stay tuned. Hey guys, Dr. Segal, UroCoach. So in this video, I'm going to tell you how we interpret urine dipsticks. And at the end, I'm going to give you my pearl of wisdom for something that's super important to know when you interpret any urine dipstick. So make sure you stay tuned for that. So this is part 2 of interpretation of urinalysis. But please first like, subscribe, comment. We want to hear what you guys want us to talk about. All right, let's get right into it where we left off. So the next one on the urine dipstick on the diagram is urine pH. So pH is a measure of how acidic or alkaline the urine is. The range for it is 4.5 to 8.5, and typically urine is actually a little bit acidic. So the pH of the urine is super important to us as urologists for a couple reasons. So first of all, certain stones like to inhabit alkaline environments, so urine pHs that are higher. For instance, calcium phosphate stones, struvite stones, staghorn stones. These types of stones like when the urine pH is higher. Other kinds of stones like uric acid stones and cysteine stones like acidic environments. The other reason why urine pH is important to us is for urinary tract infections. In general, bacteria like alkaline environments. So a lot of the therapies that we do for urinary tract infections, whether it's therapies that you might eat, like cranberries, which are thought to acidify the urine, or medications like methanamine, which also acidify the urine, the idea is we want that pH to be lower. In fact, intravaginal estrogen cream, which is used to decrease the vaginal pH, can sometimes decrease your chance of getting urinary tract infections because the pH is lower in the vaginal canal. Okay, and the next one is the one that people probably freak out about the most, blood in the urine. All right, so look at the diagram for where that is on the urine dipstick. So blood in the urine is defined by greater than 3 red blood cells per high-powered field, and we will usually do a workup for this that involves 2 things: a look inside your bladder with a camera called a cystoscopy, and an image of your upper urinary tracts called a CT urogram. There are a multitude of causes for blood in the urine, from stones in the urinary tract, your prostate may bleed a little bit, a urinary tract infection can cause blood in the urine, some inflammation in the urinary tract, and tumors of the urinary tract, which is obviously something that we want to work up. One interesting thing about the blood on the urine dipstick, so sometimes the blood on the urine dipstick will be positive, but then we look at the urine under the microscope and we don't see any red blood cells. And what might be going on is something called myoglobinuria. I know that's a big word, but what happens is that when your muscles break down for a variety of reasons, one of the classic stories is that you have a drummer that's doing a really long set and he gets muscle breakdown because of it, and then he starts peeing and his urine will look reddish or like Coca-Cola, and then they'll get worked up for it and we can't find any red blood cells in there. It's because their muscle is breaking down, and the myoglobin, which is a byproduct of muscle breakdown, appears in the urine, but it's not true blood in the urine. Absolutely deserves a workup, but it's an interesting fact. Next one is specific gravity. I'm going to keep this one super simple. It's essentially a measure of how dilute your urine is. The range is 1.005 to 1.030. The lower number conveys that your urine is dilute. Looking at your urine and seeing whether it looks concentrated or dilute is a pretty darn good surrogate for that value. The next one is ketones in the urine. Ketones are abnormal, okay? It conveys a low carbohydrate state. So if your body is breaking down fat to generate energy and you have a low carbohydrate state in your cells, then you may see ketones in the urine. Situations include diabetes that is uncontrolled, sometimes starvation states, individuals that are on these trendy low carb diets, they can have ketones in the urine. Last one on the diagram is glucose in the urine. When you see glucose in the urine, think diabetes. Now, the kidneys get overwhelmed when the concentration of glucose is 180 milligrams per deciliter, and then you'll see glucose start to spill in the urine. But it's important to know that in pre-diabetic states, so if your amount of glucose that's getting to the kidney is less than that value, the glucose on the urine dipstick won't be positive. But certainly, if we find out that you have glucose in the urine, we'll do a referral to the primary care doctor to do a workup for diabetes that may involve a fasting glucose level. And this is my pearl of wisdom. So when you see a urine dipstick, some people will look at the urine dipstick and they'll look at it and they'll get multiple different values for the same urine specimen. And what's really key is if you look at this diagram here, you have to make sure you wait the right amount of time. Each one of the values that we are measuring on the urine dipstick requires a requisite amount of time before you can interpret it properly. If you try to interpret it too early or too late, then you may get an errant value, okay? So you see that number with the letter S next to it? That's the number of seconds you have to wait to interpret it properly, and that's super important. Anyway, I hope that's helpful to you guys. The urine dipstick test is one of the more powerful, quick tests that we do as urologists. Thank you so much for listening. We certainly appreciate it. Please like, subscribe, comment. We want to hear what you want us to talk about. Thanks.